While most North Americans have been worried about rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic in Washington, D.C., a scripture in the Bible has been fulfilled. Revelation 9, the fifth trumpet. In today's video, I'm going to outline that. The pit of Apollyon has been uncovered, and the torment of man is about to begin. For those of you who are unaware of what Revelation 9 says, I'm just going to cover that real quick, right here from Bible Gateway, King James Version, Revelation 9. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit, and he opened the bottomless pit. And there arose a smoke out of the pit as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth. And unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from them. And the shape of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as teeth of lions. And they had breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running to battle. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Now, many networks during the early 2000s, in order to gain ratings, tried to make people believe that Apollyon was some anagram of Napoleon and tried to tie it to some prophecy of Nostradamus nonsense. Apollyon was a real person. Apollonius of Tyana. He was a contemporary of Christ and the Antichrist, literally described throughout history. Lived virtually the exact same existence as history describes, having been born divinely, apparently, and going about and teaching people to put away the things of the flesh and to seek a more spiritual existence, and working miracles. This is Apollyon. Now, if you think I'm off track here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Recently, science has used this thing called LiDAR. Now, they send drones up, and they have these pieces of equipment that can literally burn through layers of vegetation and see what's underneath. Recently, in a very strange part of Brazil, near the Peruvian border, they have discovered this pit, this large circular pit, with all of these radiating paths to it, somewhat laid out like the cosmos. This is an example of LiDAR usage from Guatemala. This is just all jungle. You could not see this without LiDAR. Now, LiDAR is a very powerful technology, and it is very deleterious to humans. But all over the world, they have been uncovering these things. Now, why do I think this is Apollyon's pit? Well, it has to do with where it is in Brazil. There are some spots in South America where no human being has any business being, and this is one of them. It is a very, very mystical place. And way out here, in the Parque Nacional de Serra do Divisor, there is this place where they have discovered this. The name of the place in Spanish is Marechal Taumaturgo. Now, for those of you who are unaware what Marechal Taumaturgo means, it means the marshal of miracle workers. That's what this literally translates to, where they found this pit. And there's only one historical figure that would fit that description. And that would be Apollyon. This is going to be a game changer down there. What they have found and how they have found it. Even the Navy has this new drone launcher called Locust, where it launches these drones over and over again, dozens and dozens of them. And the description of these drones is virtually identical with what the King James Bible describes. How they look, the sounds they make, as many chariots rushing to battle, and that they don't kill men, they only torment them. That is the key. These drones don't fire weapons that blow up and kill people. They scan. They scan with technology that destroys human tissue, penetrates right through biological material, like it's not even there. And that's how they get those images. It's why they don't do it over populated areas. They do it over jungles, they do it over oceans. They don't do it where people are, because it's that powerful. This is the symbol of thaumaturgy, or thaumaturgy as some might say it. And it is virtually identical to what they have discovered in a pit in South America. This is exactly what was prophesied. I'll give you the wiki for Marechal Taumaturgo. It's not very big. And I'll also give you the wiki for the man known as Apollonius of Tyana. Now, what does this have to do with Antarctica? Funny thing, LiDAR doesn't work down here because it won't penetrate water at certain depths and ice for certain depths. It is a very spooky technology, and that's why this continent has remained undiscovered for a long time, but that's changing. That's changing greatly. This is a picture from last year, February 4 on the left, February 13 on the right. It shows the amount of melt. Apollonius of Tyana was described in antiquity as thus. In Philostratus' description of Apollonius' life and deeds, there are a number of similarities with the life and especially the claimed miracles of Jesus. Perhaps this parallel was intentional, but the original aim was hardly to present Apollonius as a rival of Jesus. However, in the late 3rd century, Porphyry, an anti-Christian Neoplatonic philosopher, claimed in his treatise Against the Christians, literally the definition of Antichrist, that the miracles of Jesus were not unique, and mentioned Apollonius as a non-Christian who had accomplished similar achievements. Around 300 AD, Roman authorities used the fame of Apollonius in their struggle to wipe out Christianity. Can you think of a better definition of Antichrist? Hierocles, one of the main instigators of the persecution of the Christians in 303 AD, wrote a pamphlet where he argued that Apollonius exceeded Christ as a wonder worker, and yet wasn't worshipped as a god, and that the cultured biographers of Apollonius were more trustworthy than the uneducated apostles. This attempt to make Apollonius a hero of the anti-Christian, anti-Christ movement provoked sharp replies from the bishop Eusebius of Caesarea and from Lactantius. Now, I will give you the rest of this to read. It's not something that a lot of people are aware of. But this has now been uncovered. Where this was. You see, in antiquity, they had no knowledge of the Western Hemisphere. They had no knowledge of places like what we call Brazil. These undiscovered lands. And now, everything that was seen by the writer of Revelation, which to him probably just seemed so fantastical he couldn't believe it, is now coming to pass. So, I'm sure many people will have differing opinions on this, but the evidence with everything else that is going on, I believe, is right in front of our eyes if we're willing to accept it and read the Bible and pray about it. And I'll leave it there. Like, share, subscribe.